bit and we get the intro and then we. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show. I'm James Overton, and I'm here with co-host Leah J. Stitt. And of course, we're hoping Thomas the Colonel Chapman will come on a little later. We're on a little earlier at 6. This is our summertime at 6 instead of 7. So I might have to remind the Colonel. But anyway, we are here, and we have a special guest with us this evening. And Leah, if you will, please introduce our special guest.
I am extremely excited to introduce to some and to remind others of who this young lady is. Miss Kenna, but she's Kimberly to me, Kimberly Crewe. I'm just so happy to be able to have Kimberly on Portsmouth Coffee Talk on tonight because Kimberly has taken an amazing journey. Kim has stepped outside of herself and she has become this extraordinary model, an amazing model, and which has led her to this journey in the Miss Full Figured Virginia pageant. And the Miss Full Figured Virginia pageant is a beauty pageant for full figured women in Virginia, co-founded in 2018 by Perusha Jones Sharon, director of Miss Full Figured Virginia pageant. It was created to focus on building self-confidence in women through their competition. The mission to empower women through pageantry and inspire others while serving the community. We believe beauty is important, however, giving back is priceless. Miss Full Figured Virginia pageant is a division of Miss Full Figured USA National Pageant, founded by CEO Teresa Randolph, plus size model, TV personality of Newark, New Jersey, and the honored owner of by the city of Newark to the key of the city. She has dazzled audiences for over 30 years, was one of the longest running full figured pageants in the United States, and continues to live by the motto, size has no barrier on beauty.
Yes.
And also, not only her journey with the Miss Virginia, Full Figure Virginia pageant, but Kim has developed her platform. Her platform is called Hey Bae, Breathe, Align, and Elevate. And all of these things we need to learn to do so that we can remain balanced in this life that we're running through. So I want to say, Kim, welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. I'm extremely excited to have you to come on to share your amazing journey that you have gone through as you prepare for the Miss Full Figured Virginia pageant, but also the great work you're doing in helping people to realign themselves. So welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. This is awesome to just be able to have the opportunity to share the greatness of Hey Bae and the power of breath is my biggest goal. It's my biggest goal, my biggest desire is to get Hey Bae out there so that we can embrace this concept and begin to live Hey Bae every day.
So, how did you come up with this Hey Bae? This Hey Bae?
Honestly, it was through prayer and meditation. I was starting my platform and I knew I wanted to do power of breath. And so I had some quirky little things that was working first. And my mentor was like, Kenna knows that ain't gonna work. Those titles is not it. And so I just kind of kept playing with the words. And it came to me that I was giving a command. And then it was given to me. The commands are real simple: breathe, align, elevate. And I was like, wait a minute, that's Bae. So that's how we got Hey Bae. It's literally giving a command. Hey, I'm getting your attention and I'm telling you what to do. Breathe, align, elevate. Take a breath.
And what is the importance of each of those elements?
Absolutely. The breath is so powerful because it is the first anti-stress mechanism in our bodies. Scientifically and medically, where our bodies are set up, when we take a breath, it allows us to release endorphins, to let us release the negativity, to release the tension and all the cortisol that's building up. So that breath is powerful, but also mentally, that breath gives pause. That breath is literally saying pause. So before you impulsively react, before you impulsively do anything that you may regret, whether it's big or small, pause. Let your impulse pass. Is they say with you can withstand 5 seconds, you're able to think rationally. So just imagine when a traumatic event happens, if you can stay calm for the initial 5 seconds, you are able to think logically after then. So that just shows you how small of a window we are making major mistakes. We are making detrimental decisions in a small window because we refuse to pause.
And what about this alignment?
Alignment is what I say is what's going to keep you going a long way. Alignment is that site where you set your vision, where you set your mind, where you set your thoughts. I tell my children, I have 3 teenage boys. Well, one's a young adult now, but I tell my boys all the time to have daily goals because there's so many distractions, there's so many things that will throw you off, and you can easily lose sight of your target if you do not have small steps and small milestones and goals set in place. So that alignment is literally saying, let me make sure I'm in place of my goals. Let me make sure that I'm still on the right route, in the right direction to get where I'm going. It's like if we deviate when we're trying to get to Walmart and we get sidetracked and now we're somewhere far off, we miss our purpose. We miss what we're supposed to be doing when we get to Walmart. Same thing with life. If we get caught up in the side shows and the distractions, we will miss our mark, we will miss our purpose, and we will really feel ourselves short of the life that we're supposed to have. And
And
that
then
brings us to that. I said that brings us to elevate. And I love that elevate. The elevate is when my son says stun on them. I love that because it literally is saying in your elevate, shine. Things are going to happen, and it's you're going to you're going to go through things, and then life's going to get tough sometimes, but you're going to make a choice to rise above it. It's that conscious choice, the intentionality behind that. I can stay here and woe is me because life is life and this and that, or I can choose to come above it. When you rise above it, you're able to see things differently. You're able to get a different solution. You're able to get a different insight, a different perspective, so that you can come up with a solution that is out of the box. That is when innovation and growth comes in. That's when we see the biggest change, when we can elevate beyond our mediocrity, when we can elevate beyond our comfort, when we can elevate beyond our trauma. That is when healing, growth, and prosperity can be fluent in our lives.
James, you had something?
Well, yeah, yeah. Kimberly, your positive energy is radiating through the screen here, and it's I can feel it. And
Thank
I want to ask you, I want to take you back. Has it always been? Have you always had that positive energy? I'm asking, what was it like for a little Kimberly growing up? I mean, did you always have this confidence and this energy that you have right now? Because sometimes young kids go through some changes, some stages in their life where they have to adjust themselves to their surroundings or how people treat
you.
them. So, how was it for you when you were coming up?
You know, in my home, it was fine. I love growing up. My mom really poured into to me heavily. She would tell me, "You Jenny Crewe daughter. I wish you would walk around here crying because oddly enough, I was picked on. I
Well,
was
now, what were
overweight.
you crying about? What
I
was
was
you crying
very
about?
overweight as a
Oh,
child.
okay.
So I was constantly picked on. I was considered to be a weirdo, or corny. I was kind of corny. I was like a little geek. I enjoyed doing math and the things that I took delight in was not the normal things of a child. So I was constantly being picked on into it. Even went into high school, I was still being bullied. And my mom was like, enough is enough. Like, I need you to know that you my daughter. And she poured into me, and I did not get it. And it wasn't until, life went on and I still struggled and tussled, honestly, with my identity. And I got comfortable in my college years and in my young adult. I got married and had children. I got comfortable in the background of life. It went from people can't bully me if they can't see me. So I literally began to fade back to the point where I came comfortable in the background of just life. I would literally I would go in a room and look for the corner, and that's where I would stay. And it was not until a culmination of things, I saw my children taking on that same concept in life. And I think that is a biggest eye opener for me. As a parent, you do not want to see your children following in your footsteps of mistakes. You want them to follow the things that you did was successful, but you don't want them to follow in your flaws and your shortcomings and your mistakes. And although I was comfortable in the background, I knew that that wasn't where I was called to be, but that's where I settled to be. So I didn't want my children to think that they were supposed to be there. So I know in order for me to make a change, I had to change. And it was a close friend of mine that told me that. He was like, hey, I ain't trying to be funny, but if you don't change it, your children won't change it because they watch you. And that was like a light bulb for me. And I was like, oh no, because I refuse to allow my children to shed the tears that I shed because they are greater than this. From the beginning of time they were born, I told them there's greatness in you. You were called to greatness. But I tell people all the time, as a parent, our voice are whispers to our children. So even though we are telling them these things, when they go out in the world, they hear the volume of their peers way louder than my voice can ever spread. So now with Hey Bae, I started as in literally for me. No, Kenna, come out the back. Come out the back, girl. This is for you. The first step I had to do, the first ministry is myself. So I'm calling me out. And so my boys started watching. So then they were like, oh, my, you shining. So the boys, and they will say, oh, my, we about to shine. We about to shine. Because they was like, we ain't going to say, hey, babe, might sound funny. So they say they're going to shine. So small things like that was what reminded me that this is more than just my pageantry, it's more than just a platform, but it's truly my calling, my purpose. So many people are saying, you know what? I'm going to walk differently. I'm going to have my head up because you're right, girl. You're right. And I do not want no one to be comfortable in their depression. I don't want anybody comfortable in their anxiety. I don't want anyone to be comfortable in their numbness. I lived it and I've been there so long. And if I can tell you a story and it's going to change your life, I'm going to tell you a story. Me helping you dance on a dance floor is going to get you to get through a dark moment. I'm going to help you get through the dark moment because I know what it's like to be in a valley crying alone. And I promise you, I don't want no one to go through that when we are called to better than that.
Wow. And and kids can be cruel, as far as the bullying is concerned. And
Yes.
also parents can
be cruel.
or grown-ups, I'll put it away, not parents. Parents
Yes.
going to be on your side, but some parents, but grown-ups can be cruel. I can remember, and kids, they bullied everybody. I can remember being bullied because I was kind of quiet. And as I got older, by the time I got to Northam, that's high school, I had to make sure I talked back. The way to keep people off you, you had to talk. I had to exude confidence through talking back, and they left me alone then. But I also want to bring up, since I mentioned Northam, Leah and I went to Northam, and during those times, and just to talk about how times have changed and how people are accepting of everybody. When Leah and I were in school, if you wanted to be a cheerleader or in the band as a majorette, you had to be a certain size. You had to be a certain size, and you might as well just say it. When everybody went out, when they made those selections, and they were usually made by the cheerleaders, the actual cheerleaders. So they were picking, people who they thought everybody would accept. And what you see now, people are picked on their merit and their talent.
Yeah.
So you have a variety of sizes, tall and short, you know, and full figures and whatever, participating in things that they couldn't participate in before. And I think it's great to see.
That's
It's
true.
great to see. And so I mean, is that something that you also experienced as you got older into the high school level and beyond, or has that change started for you?
Even when I was in school, that was still a thing going on. You had the stereotypes. I was in flag line, and I remember saying I wanted to be a dance line. I wanted to go on dance line so bad, and it was like, well, you really, what I'm saying, you really you kind of too big to be a dance line girl. So that was still in place when I was in school. That was 20 some years ago, but it was still a thing. Those stereotypes are there. So I am glad to see that the barriers are broken. You see, when
Mhm.
I get so excited when I go to the high school football games and I see girls of all shapes, sizes, and colors, and they're all there still on one accord, and they're still full of the pride. And I think that's what a lot of people forget, that the pride that you take when you're in these groups and in these organizations, it is not about the look or the image. It's more so about the connection and the literally the unity, and it's that oneness. There's a power in that. And when you get so caught up in the look, you miss the whole purpose of the
Exactly.
connection and the organization. So it's like, what was all this for? The cheerleaders were supposed to be there for not only for the basketball players, but a morale boost. And they're so
Mhm.
petty and so picky. It's like, how can you call yourself a cheerleader when you're so nasty? So I'm glad to see those barriers are broken, and girls and the women and men are proud to just operate in their true identity and their confidence in who they are. I went to my son's high school, and I tell him all the time, being in your hallway gives me anxiety, but it also makes me smile because I watch all those individual students go through there with their unique looks, and they're not scared. They're not timid. They're not walking with their head down. I don't care how different it was. They all had this about them that I'm glad to see. The bullying is still there. Don't get me wrong, and it's at an all-time high because it's on all different elements now. You got social media, you got your parents talking about you. It's out of control now. So it's a different level, but the bullying is still there. But it seems like people are also shaking it off in a little bit more than what it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets the cheerleaders to move away from that mean girl syndrome,
Yes.
that they were noted for so long, because they did have everyone looked practically the same size, you the same shade, uh, try to have the same hair length and all. So it really
Hmm.
had to move away from all of that by embracing the variety of women who were out there who could participate in the cheering program. So it did bring about a change. But Kim,
Yeah.
I'm just so excited though. And we talked about these changes that have taken place in your life, and having known you, and I used to call you my whopper, because you used to be a little chunky. You used to be a little chunky. So I was really kind of shocked when I saw how much weight you had lost. And then you telling me that you were in the Miss Full Figure Virginia pageant. And I told you, are you large enough to be in the Miss Full Figure Virginia pageant? So tell me about that journey. How did you get to this point of becoming a part of this Miss Full Figure Virginia pageant?
This is my first pageant ever. My modeling coach with Aerodosity Modeling, she had recommended after my first fashion show. She was like, "Kenna, you have more in you than just walking and posing. Like, I really want to see you flourish." And I was like, "What you talking about now?" And she said, "I want you to do a pageant." I was like, "A pageant?" And when she said it's full figure, I said, "I done lost all the weight now." But it's size 12 and up. You gotta remember, it's fashion model full figure. So
Yes.
anything 12 and up is considered full size or plus size in the pageantry. So when I went to my first meeting, the first thing she said was, "This is a beginner friendly pageant. We're here to help you along the way. The main thing is, if you have something to say, I think you should do it." And when she said that, it resonated so loudly with me because I kept saying, as I was saying earlier, I knew I wanted to change. I just had so many thoughts in my head. I did not know how to implement or what that change would look like. So I was like, I know I want to say something. If they're willing to teach me, then why not? So
Yes.
that's how we got started on the pageantry. Was I said at the time when I started, I said I don't care about the crown. I just want to learn and grow. So that's how I started. Somewhere around month 2 or 3, I cared about the crown too.
So you cared about that crown, huh?
I cared about the crown too.
But not only are you working towards the crown, but there are other things that you all are doing as a part of this pageantry, as far as
Yeah.
taking place in the community at large. So why don't you share some of those things as well?
Yes, so we are we're required to do community service, but they also ask of us to serve in our community. So me personally, I like to work with upcycling, whether it's redoing furniture, redoing clothing. So I volunteer with some of the thrift stores. I've also worked with a lot of the local community areas doing community yard sales. So I help some of the seniors over here reorganize their houses. Simple tasks that we take for granted at a younger age, it's not as easy for someone who may be a senior or who is disabled. So the opportunity to just go in there, and I gained so much wisdom from talking to them, and I learned so many hacks and tricks, like the what Ms. Lee, you taught me about catching the gnats, but the other lady taught me about burning the coffee. I didn't know about burning, if you burn the coffee outside. So
Yes.
it's just little different things you learn that I didn't know about it. So
Uh-huh.
I had the opportunity to serve in that way. We all have a charity that we are through our People's Choice. The winner gets to have part of those proceeds go to our charity. The charity that I'm supporting and sponsoring is Bridging the Gap, and is working with the teenagers of the ages 13 to 18, because I call that the forgotten age group. And the young lady who was working with it, Miss Tiara, Tamara, I apologize. She works with the young adults with either getting them in jobs, getting them in barber shops, in the nail shops, doing whatever you can to keep that free time occupied. So it's taking away the temptation to do things that's that's going to lead them in a direction we don't want them to go down, because they're too old for summer school or summer camps, but they're not always old enough to work or to participate in some of the other programs. So they are often missed generations. So this opportunity to help them is really going to be big.
Okay, let me introduce you to the Colonel here. James, I saw you making your motion.
Hey there.
We can't hear you,
Hey,
James. We can't hear you, James. You're on mute.
Come off.
Okay, now.
Okay. Yeah, I had to, see if we could remind the colonel that we're on the summertime now. But
yeah, I know.
yeah, he out
And
there in the pool. He out there in the pool floating. But I want to let me go back a little bit with you, and I think you know the positivity of you is just amazing to me, and it's still young ladies out there that's having issues with either their weight or just self-esteem in general. You how do they handle the mental health aspect of it? Because a lot of people just go into their little cocoon and try to deal with that way and not be associated with people, and just so they won't be hurt or upset by people. But nowadays we have to talk about people getting help for some of these things, even the bullying at the young ages. They're suggesting that some kids need help to overcome some of the, what they're going through, because it can affect them later on in life, negatively. But
Absolutely.
grown people, even though the world is looking at uh, everybody differently now, a lot of people still have, because some people don't start out a certain way, but they get a certain age and then their whole body
Mhm.
image changes, and in their mind they're thinking back, wow, I used to be a size 2, but I'm this now. But there's no shame in that. I mean, that's something that naturally happens with most people, men and women. So
Right.
how are you into dealing with the mental part of some of the things that some women that go through, so everybody
Yeah.
could be confident enough to get into the pageant or show.
Right. Well, one thing about the Miss Full Figure Virginia pageant, it is a beginner friendly pageant. So we have from day one, we're assigned a mentor. So one of the reigning queens are automatically assigned to you to assist you. So their goal is to help you with those rocky moments. And then you have your pageant sisters. We have our group chats, we have our meetups. And there, like I said before, there's power and unity. And so as we grow together, we become transparent with each other. And that comes from making a conscious effort. And it takes time, because I want to say that I was once I was 278 pounds before I started my weight loss journey. It took me 2 years, but originally I lost 132 pounds. The smallest I got down to was 135 pounds. And I was so small. But here's the thing, in my mind, I lost 135 pounds, but I was still seeing myself as 300 pounds. So it took a mental change. And it was really hard for that, because how you seen yourself for so long, it doesn't go away overnight. So I remember that I was dating a guy at a time, and he gave me a necklace, and I had wore that necklace when I was heavier. And I measured my weight loss no longer by pounds, but by the way that my necklace fit. And I kept saying, I know I'm losing weight because my necklace is dropping. And I had a friend tell me, she was like, as you're in each stage, identify one attribute about yourself physically that you like, and one mentally that you like. And through that, it helped me cultivate a healthier perspective of myself. Because one thing about it, you're gonna always have flaws. I don't care if you lose all the weight, because when I lost all my weight, I still wasn't happy with the way I looked. So then I literally had to learn to see myself that I'm more than just my looks, because those will change. So I had to teach myself, oh, I like the way I laugh. I like the way I smile. I like the way that I can bounce back. I like when someone says this, I just have a snarky answer. It's small things that you have to find something in every day. And also purpose. Your perspective does not come in a healthy way without intentionality. You have to have purpose for your day, for your life, every single moment. Because the minute you don't, you will always begin to look at the flaws. I'm not good enough. I'm not doing enough, because you'll miss all the marks that you are hitting, because you see what you don't hit. It is true that we are worst critics. We see our shortcomings, and we don't see the many things that we're succeeding. I remember I thought I was having a bad day, and I was like, I'm just messing up. I'm just doing this. And I'm just all around messing up, Kenna. And the lady said, girl, you just made my day. Like the way you walk around here and everything you do, you change everything. I'm smiling because of the way you are. And I was like, what? Our perspectives were literally night and day. I was saying, this is the worst day I've been and I've performed. And she said, this is the best I've needed from anybody. And you changed everything. So I think it's so important that we are surround ourselves with healthy echoes. And we are also having a healthy perspective at all times. And we understand, I'm going to fall short. I'm going to have rough days, but they don't last forever. And that's not my identity. It's a moment. I think that is very key in conquering and coming from the background forward, knowing that we are all falling short. We are all going to go through something. I remember my friend, when I was going through something, she said to me, hey, did you know a celebrity killed themselves? They said they had all the money, Kenna. They had all the fame, and they still said, I'm not at peace and I'm not happy. She said, so stop chasing things, waiting for a moment, but live each moment with purpose and intentionality, and every moment will be worthwhile. And that was mind blowing. It changed everything, because you're right. If I'm meeting my daily goal, if I'm telling myself every day, my goal is to make sure, it can be something small as I will make sure I make my boys' dentist appointment a day. I tell them you have one fun goal and one productive goal. My goal is to make the boys' dentist appointment a day and go roller skating around the block. If I accomplish that a day, then guess what? I aced the day. Everything else in between that was just the waves of life. You got to make sure you're meeting your marks. But the problem is we forget to set our marks. So now we're just out here in a wave pool of life getting upset because we don't see the progress. But you set those marks, you'll see the progression.
Yeah, so self-motivation is so important. So, and also, and sometimes other people need that professional help as well. But you have to start with that self-motivation, because it goes the other way. You have anorexic people that look in the mirror and see themselves too too large, and they're actually real thin.
Real
So
thin. That's right.
a lot
That's
of it
right.
is up there in the mind. So the self-motivation plus professional help can help you overcome. And plus, pageants like you're involved with is also something that can create self-esteem.
And Kim, and the thing that I admire as I have followed you on this journey, and I've been to a couple of the fashion shows that you have been in, is to see how your fellow contestants, how you support each other. And usually, with pageants, you get a lot of rivalry going on. Folks, trying to knock folks off. I know when my daughter was in the pageant, and one girl wanted to put something on her dress to mess her dress up, so she wouldn't be able to compete. You know what I mean? So it makes me feel so good to see how you all come together. They come together to support you. You meet with them, you support them, and it's a pageant, yes, but it's also building a community of sisters of like-mindedness working together to make things better. And I think that's a plus right there. And how you encourage each other, even because each of you did your platform on Facebook with the pageant sponsor, and you supported each other as you gave your platform on that Facebook page. So I want to commend you all for that, and I'm just looking forward. I'm looking forward to the pageant. I'm looking forward to Friday and Saturday night to see all of this take place. And for those who are out there in Facebook land, the pageant is taking place in Richmond, Virginia on June 28th and 29th.
Yes.
28th would be the talent competition.
Correct.
And the 29th, talent and fashion show, right?
Yeah.
And then on the 29th is the actual pageant. On the 28th, it starts at 6 o'clock. On the 29th, it starts at 3 o'clock. Doors open at 2 o'clock. So, and as you prepare, Kim, I know that you are a great praise dancer. So I want to know, what is your talent for this pageant that's coming up?
You know it. I'm bringing the dance and ministry to the talents. And I just found out we'll be at VCU for preliminary night. So we'll be at VCU for preliminary nights, and I will be ministering and dance. It's
Did you say you'll be at VUU?
We'll be at VCU.
VCU. Oh, okay.
He went to VUU. That's why
I didn't think there was any other place in Richmond.
There was too much excitement for him not to be one of them.
just for the sake of it, I'm getting some calls from folks saying, "Why are you all on at 6 o'clock? I thought you were coming on at 7." I'm getting some text messages. People, during the summer months, we are coming on at 6 p.m. as opposed to 7 p.m. However, if you missed this brilliant interview today, you can go back onto my Facebook page, James Overton's Facebook page, or Coffee Talks Facebook page, as well as Coffee Talks YouTube page, and you can still see the entire interview. So they're thinking we were coming on at 7, Kim, so they can still see it. You can tell your friends they can see it from now until, because it's out here forever from this point on. Okay.
From now until you win the pageant. And sure, Colonel has a question, but I want to ask this Richmond pageant, and I think they have a lot of other local ones. Does that lead to the national?
You better believe it. Yes, sir.
So when is that?
The nationals will be in Georgia this year.
Oh, okay.
And that'll be in November.
Yeah.
Sir?
That'll be in November?
That'll be in November.
Well, that's my birth month, so that's a blessing to you, okay?
Yeah.
Colonel?
I need it.
Oh, yeah. I always say, just do you. Always do you. And you don't worry about what other people are going to say. But we also know in society, especially in America today, that we have the problem of body shaming, and people look at how you look, how much you weigh, your stature, what you wear, and we have bullying and then outright discrimination against people with because of their weight, skin color, religion, sexuality, and race, and all that, and it's all discriminatory. And then so we have to look at that, and some of it is, as we know, it all spills down into employment also. All those types of subsets of discrimination, and I call them discrimination. People like to soft shoe it and say it's bullying and or looking at it in a different way, but it's all discrimination according to those subcategories. We can go back to the and what's happening now and what happened in the last administration. The subjects we're talking about today, you couldn't go to the White House and get a job there because Trump worried about how you looked on camera. That's why he didn't have people of color. Well, he was a racist anyway. It was and still is a racist. But anybody that didn't look camera ready couldn't go and work in the administration or be anywhere in the building. And then so I just had to get that out my off my agenda.
Off your chest.
Off my chest. But and for truth in lending, and just in truth, I have never been a big proponent of pageants, especially beauty pageants, no matter what kind of pageants, because I always thought they were, and always believe and still believe that they're discriminatory, and they do not put people in the best light. I think they're old school, for me. And so I just want to get that off my chest too, so you know where I'm coming from. So I look at like the Miss Teen that just the two of them that just the winner, and I think it was the alternate, just gave up their titles because of some of the stuff that I just talked about. People shaming them on Facebook and social media. So can you address some of that? What's your thoughts on what I just said?
And to some degree, it was a lot, but I do understand what you're saying, and to some degree, I can actually agree that there are still a lot of, although they have grown in their perception and starting different pageants. It used to be the beauty pageant, and you had to have a certain look. You could only be a certain way. It was Miss Congeniality. It was you give your speech, you love your universe, you'll save the world, and you'll win. So now we have Miss Bald and Beautiful. You have Miss Full Figure. You got Miss Small Woman. You have all these different things. And I get what you're saying, how it's like you're almost accepting the discriminatories, but also I would say the discrimination is there and those stereotypes will remain there. But now, because there's a platform to open it up, you can embrace a different sex. So now there is an opportunity where those without hair can have a bald pageant. So there's no longer, I would say, the discrimination isn't there. But yes, there are barriers. Yes, there's different groups. Yes, there are different geographics. But now the playing field is even because anybody can start a pageant. So, so that stigma is taken off. But I will say that they are still very traditional in some regards. So that can be frustrating because you can find yourself limiting the women because we are still stuck on keeping tradition. But I also know that some tradition isn't a bad thing, but until we're able to grow beyond it, we're going to embrace it. So I do like the fact they are keeping the tradition, but spreading the playing field. So I guess it's like, all right, it's a fair compromise. So I like the fact that, yes, we still give our speeches. Yes, we're still required to be poised. Yes, we're still required to bring forth a certain image. But I also enjoy the fact that I can be bald and do that. I can be large and do that. I can be short and do that. I can be small and do that. So I like that I can now be whatever I am and still walk and serve as a beauty queen. So
Mhm.
I get what you're saying, but I still think that we have grown a lot in the pageantry where it's not nowhere near what it used to be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
let me read the mission of this national USA pageant, and it is our mission to empower women through pageantry and inspire others while serving the community. We believe beauty is important, however, giving back is priceless. And I think their goal, I think it's a little unfair to compare that to Donald Trump's uh,
Pageants.
pageantry, which is all based on one thing. But and like you said, Kimberly, it still might be some things involved with your pageantry that might be a little unfair to other people. But with that type of mission that they have, you would hope that everybody follows that mission. The pageant is almost secondary compared to what you want to do as far as
Mhm. Right.
inspiring others and serving the community. And
Absolutely.
especially that last statement saying, while beauty is important,
Mhm.
giving back is
It's priceless.
priceless.
Hmm.
And that's one of the problems we have in so many of our communities, people giving back, especially when you talk about the HBCUs, giving back. So any organization that focuses on giving back has a thumbs up from me.
And plus, I think also the fact that we have so many young girls who have self-esteem problems. They try to pretend like they don't have self-esteem problems, and they do that by being loud and being outrageous, but they really do have self-esteem problems because of
Mhm.
their size and not feeling good about themselves because of their sizes. But I think it's a good thing we can show the young people that you may have a little weight on you, but as long as you're healthy, it's okay, you know. And I think in this pattern, you're going to see women from all sizes, well, from 12 up, who will be competing against each other. And I think that that can be an inspiration to a younger girl who can say, "Wow, there's some place for me as well. There's a place that I can land, and it'll be okay. You know, yes, I may be large, but am I healthy? That's the focal point has to be on whether you're healthy, and then the fact that you are required to give back. You're required to serve the community. And service is the rent we pay for living. And it's important that we give back to the community. So I
Yeah.
do like that aspect of the pageant. What you say about that, Kim?
I totally agree. I think that that is really the one of our biggest points is the 9 months leading up to the pageant is far harder than the 2 days that we're going to do at the actual pageant, because truly we're living our platforms and we're serving in our communities day in and day out. I know with my pageant sisters, we are in the streets and in the community centers, and we are showing the girls that more importantly, your voice matters most, because Ms. Leah said it so correctly. They mask it with the
Mhm.
outrageous behavior and the loud makeup and the rambunctious clothing. They mask whatever they're feeling. So I like that we're teaching them to have a voice, because what's in you will come out of you. So we are pouring into them good things and good seeds and encouraging them to use their voice to speak what they want to see, you want to see change. How do you want to see change? Is it through technology? Is it through your speaking? Is it through your dance? Is it through your doing hair? Is it through you starting a business? If you're empowering them to cultivate their voice, through
Mhm.
that, they're going to change their looks. They're going to change their walk. They're going to change their talk. The problem is they don't know their voice. So they take the
Mhm.
voice on as these sexy reds and the Cardi B's and the Megan Stallions and everybody else who pops their head like this, because they don't know their voice, and we don't pour enough into them to cultivate their voice.
Mhm.
So I think that the pageants are powerful because a lot of the young girls want to be models. They want to be in the camera. They want to walk, but they don't know they have a voice while doing it. And pageantry reminds them, be cute, but be powerful with a voice, be with a purpose. And I think that's the most important thing of the pageantry world, is that we're reminding them, have a purpose. Be cute, but have a purpose.
Yeah, Leah, you mentioned a very important fact about just being healthy, and I have to admit that my subconscious mind, it used to be this lady that worked in the mall where I worked in, and she would walk through the mall. I would walk through the mall every day at her lunch hour, and in my mind, I thought she was doing it to drop pounds, to lose weight, and I would say to myself, "Well, she's doing all that heavy walking, but she's not losing any weight." And I found out later that wasn't her purpose. Her purpose was her heart rate, not the weight.
Exactly.
Her heart rate, and I realized that what she was doing every day at lunch, her lunch hour, and then going back to work and working another 4 to 5 hours was something that I probably couldn't do at the time. So, yeah, and it's important to mention that it's about health. If you're healthy, because they used to use the term, "Oh, she's big boned,"
Oh,
to
yes.
to explain why somebody might be heavy, but that's not always the reason. But a lot of it is genetics.
Hmm.
But the important part is just being healthy physically and mentally. So I just had to bring that point up because you know I was one of those people that would say, "Why is she doing that?" Because I don't see any weight loss, but that wasn't her. That wasn't her goal.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
have people used to say, "Oh, she has such a pretty face," because they didn't want to deal with her size. Oh, she has such a pretty face, but not
Right.
really dealing with the individual, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, you got to have a voice. As you say, you got to have your voice. You got to be able to speak your truth. You have to bring
Right.
your truth out. So, and I'm glad that it's given a voice to the ladies who are plus size.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that many of them may have been introverts, which has allowed them to become an extrovert so they can come out and show who they are, and have people to appreciate them for who they are, and they not need to change in order to be accepted by society.
Absolutely. Yes. And I
So
think it's really important to, not to cut you off, but plus they get it construed that heavier women equals unhealthy women.
Hmm.
And so then women don't want to start because they say, well, I ain't ready to die yet, or I can't do that yet. But I tell people, don't focus on the weight. Find a goal. When I started to lose weight, my goal was not to lose weight. I started my journey and my goal was to dance for 2 minutes. I love to dance. And I had gotten so out of shape and overweight that I couldn't dance without losing breath. So my goal was not to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, but I want to be able to dance to a fast song for 2 minutes straight. And so every day I would dance. And if I had got to pause sometimes, I would pause it. If I got to start back up, I start back up until I found myself dancing the full 2 minutes through. And then lo and behold, I went to the doctors. I had 20 pounds I had lost. So we need to make sure that our goal is not always weight loss. Because
Hmm.
sometimes, like you stated earlier, the weight might be genetics. It might be health reasons. It might be the medicine you take. So you can't base your health off the weight that you lose or you gain. It has to be, think about your blood pressure. Blood pressure is a major killer for us. We have
Hmm.
to make sure we're controlling our glucose, our diabetes levels. So your health and everything else is not always weight loss. What are you eating? Sure, it might be calories, but do you need that sugar? In general, how is it affecting your A1C? When it comes to our blood pressure, our stress levels matter. I go walking every day, not because I want to make sure I'm breaking my heels in, but because I know I'm raising 3 boys and I have 2 grandchildren and I get a little itchy. So I need to walk to keep my nerves down. So sometimes it's not about the weight loss, you know? So we have to make sure that we are expanding our thoughts and ideas of health. It is more than our weight. It is more than the number. It is everything. Our spiritual health. What are we pouring into ourselves? Are we
Hmm.
pouring anything? Whatever your school thought is, are you investing in that? Remember, we are mind, body, and spirit.
That's
We have
right.
to take
That's
care of
right.
our minds. We have to take care of our bodies, and we have to
Hmm.
feed our spirits. Because if we don't take care of all those three things, we are still unhealthy. I don't care if you're a buck 25 or 210, 6'10", 6'2", and you're all muscle, fellas. You're still unhealthy if your mind, body, and soul is neglected in any way. We want to get to a place where we're living a healthy, whole
Hmm.
self. where we are complete in all aspects, where we feel at peace with ourselves in all aspects. And that will look different. That might be losing weight for some. That might be for some waking up every morning and making sure that you are meditating. That might be for some making sure I journal before I go to bed at night. That might be for some turning the TV off and putting my phone down and talking to my spouse. It may look different for everybody because our lives will look different. We are all called to bring forth something different, so our methods will look different. But as long as we are pouring in equally to all parts of ourselves, the best of us will always come forth.
Amen. Amen. That's right. You know, you reminded me of this poem. I think the name was Rumor Garden, I think it was, who said that we all live in a house with 4 rooms. Your emotional room, your mental room, your physical room, and your spiritual room. And it says it's important that you go into each of those rooms daily. You have to visit each room daily in order to remain healthy. So we need to take care of that mental health, our spiritual health, our emotional health, and our physical health. All of that helps to create who we are. And so it's important. And I'm glad that you focused on those arenas as well, because it's important that we do this. So, James?
No, Colonel, do you want to get in there?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned, and I'll paraphrase it. You mentioned the village, and you mentioned about plus women. So, where is the and I'll flip this around. Is there an organization like yours, or are you have anything to do with, say, plus size men and trying to help them out in the same way?
Unfortunately, as of right now, there is no organization catered to a lot of plus size men. And honestly, that's funny because we were just talking about this. Because especially in the African American culture, we laugh and we joke about the man belly and we like our beefy men, but it truly is unhealthy. And sometimes we think it's cute and we say, oh, we got a teddy bear. But
mine's just a hernia.
I'm not. But you know, a lot of times we allow our men to be comfortable in their unhealthiness because they're stubborn, they don't want to do it anyway. So I am glad that one of the I also model one of the Sassy Season Summer models, and there are male models up there that's 50 plus, and these men are actually taking initiative to get up every morning and walk together, whether they are just going to YMCA, because they're realizing I want to look good. My lady look good, and I'm over here, like you said, with a hernia in front of me. So so it's like we have to make sure that as much as we want as women, we want to be cute out here. We have to make sure we're making sure our men are handsome, but also are healthy. So there is a need there. Would you like to start it, Colonel?
Let's go, Colonel. Let's go, Colonel.
Give it to you, Colonel.
We'll be the first contestants, Colonel. We'll start it off, and you win according to your belly size.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yes, it's probably needed. But my dance card is kind of full right now.
But the focus still would have to be on health, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do agree that
that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah, we don't put a lot of focus on our men health. We a lot of times the women are constantly fighting with the men, so then we say, well, you know what, he ain't gonna go anyway, so whatever. But listen, men, stop fighting with us. Take care of yourselves. We love y'all. We want you here so we can nag you to the last breath. So
there
please,
you go. That's right, James.
Prioritize your health too.
Yeah. But you know, and we're winding down, but I have to say this because society as a whole sometimes can be so cruel. You know how people will say, how is he with her? Or how is she with him? You know, she might be a size 8 and he's a certain size, much larger. And those people are they were concentrating on the person. And they loved each other, you know, not the size, but it's the people on the outside that
Right.
might apply the pressure, and most people don't care what the outside says, but it's those people that wasting their energy. And like you said earlier, especially with the social media, people can hide behind that and say
Oh
whatever
yeah.
they want to say. And,
Hmm.
that's one of the things that you hear so much. Why is she, sometimes you hear it in your own circles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody might say, why is he with her? You know, they love
Yeah.
each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. But to them, it's not that simple. They just, you
Exactly.
know, uh, they just see things a lot differently. And
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I'm
but
glad you
that's
brought that
that's a
up.
part of reality of
Yeah.
our society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I think it's very important that we make connections off of purpose versus attraction. Because
Exactly.
so many friendships and business have started because of how the look is going to be, but you're not connected on like minds and on common ground, and then wonder why things are falling apart or constantly at war. So you hit, and that's very important for our health too. Cortisol is for men. You get those bellies, that's actually an indicator that your stress level is the problem. It's your
Mm-hmm.
cortisol is too high. So if you are with the
Just
wrong connections or
too much
over,
pig feet.
oh Lord, you gotta let the okay. No, we're gonna talk after. We ain't gonna talk on the pig. Let it go. Just let it
That's
go.
another show. That's another
That's a
show.
whole other show. You know better. But
Healthy eating.
yeah, that ain't it. But the healthy connections make a big difference because they could weigh on you in your mind. Women will lose our hair when you connected to the wrong person. Men will have you looking like you're 62 when you're 38. So you
Mm.
got to watch what and who you're connected to because they can be a
Exactly.
parasite. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is really good. I'm glad you brought that up
Yeah.
But
because
Kim,
it,
I think you could be such an inspiration to so many young girls. You've had an amazing journey, and there are other things that we can bring you back on to talk about because you've been through some things and you have survived through it
yeah,
all, which is the most important thing. You've
yeah,
survived and you're thriving,
yeah. Come on.
regardless of what you may have gone through. But I'm
Yeah,
glad to see you on this journey for the Miss Full Figured Virginia pageant. Once
yeah,
again, the pageant will take place the end of this month on the last Friday of this month. It will be at VCU, and that will
VCF.
be at 6 p.m. That would be the talent and the fashion show portion of it. And then on Saturday at 2 p.m., the doors open and bring your mask because it's a masquerade event.
Yeah.
And and that takes place at 2 o'clock on Saturday at I forgot,
Doubletree, Midlothian,
Doubletree,
Richmond.
the Doubletree in Richmond. And I have my tickets. I'll be there both nights. But I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing, especially more than the pageant. Hey, babe.
Yes,
Breathe, align, elevate. So
yes.
many of us, Colonel was not on here, Colonel, when she spoke about Hey Bay. And so, Kim, just briefly share with the Colonel what Hey Bay is all about.
Hey Bay is my platform. It means to breathe, align, elevate. Take a breath. It's literally saying taking the time to pause. No more impulsive reactions, no more just quick tempers, but pausing and then aligning, making sure that your actions align with your purpose and your goals. And most importantly, elevate. Rise above it. Nothing is worth staying down. Rise above it, find a solution, and create opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yes.
See, and that
Yeah.
goes, with the name that Slim that they gave me over in Ghana, a Fujiawa, female with the born on a Friday with the strength and vitality of that eagle. And that eagle, when the storm comes, the eagle spreads his wing and he gets excited and he soars high above the storm. And that's how
Yes,
we elevate. We got to elevate high above the storms in our lives. We got to
absolutely.
step above it. So I'm just so
Absolutely.
appreciative of you agreeing to come on. And I apologize to those who thought it was going to be 7 o'clock. Maisha just said that she has to go back and watch it because she's just leaving her school at this time. So, so once again, for those who may have missed us at 6 o'clock, you can go back and watch this show on James Overton's page, on Portsmouth Coffee Talks page, on Leah Drake Stiff's page, or you can go to our YouTube, Coffee Talk YouTube page, and you can like and subscribe. Get your friends to like and subscribe our YouTube page, and they can go back and watch it from time after time after time on the YouTube page. And I want to say, Kim, thank you so very much. Colonel, your last words, Colonel.
Well, you have summarized it all. And I love your acronym also. And I believe that is a way to live life, especially when you get stressed out there and you don't jump out there and do something that you regret. Take a deep breath, step back, think of what you're going to say and do, because it could be a life and death situation, especially for people of color.
Yes.
You can fly off the handle if you want, but there are situations out there that are not going to be good for you, and it'll make you come home in the end. And so, thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Okay, and I know we're at the end, but I have to ask this question. I think this is important. So, the pageant, they have different age categories. Am I correct?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, because I see even up to 60 plus. So it'll be some ladies in there that are 60 and older, and some from 18 to 20. So, but that's all separate categories.
Correct.
You have winners from each category, or didn't you come down to one winner?
There are 4 categories, and there'll be a one winner in each category and a runner-up in each category. Our elite, which is the 60 plus, that is the same reigning queen, because we hadn't had any other 60 plus women, Mom.
Well, I should have been in this pageant. My goodness.
Exactly. Hint next year. But so she's still gonna be the reigning queen. But there will be new queens this year for the Miss Full Figure, regular Miss Full Figure Virginia. You have Miss Full Figure Plus, and I'm going for Miss Exquisite, which is ages 40 through 60.
Okay. All right, that's great. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and I want to thank our special guest, Kimberly Crewe, and make sure you drive up to Richmond to the pageant. I don't know if it'll be televised. It might be tape delayed or something like that. And when you're up in Richmond, stop by that great HBCU, Virginia Union University, and drop some coins off. But anyway, no, just stop by there and take a look at that historic campus. It won't take you long to go through it. It's a small campus, but check us out. Anyway, thanks again.
A small but powerful campus.
Small but powerful campus. It could fit inside. It could fit inside Norfolk State's campus, but But anyway, we want to thank you again and take care, and we'll see you next time on Portsmouth Coffee Talk Evening Edition Show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.